Earlier today, the ladies at that hard-hitting news show on ABC called The View, they clashed over what will happen to Donald Trump following Alvin Bragg's witch hunt. Let's see what the ladies of The View had to say.
This case is not taking Donald Trump down, and I say that for a couple reasons.
How do you know that?
There was, well, just real quick, there was no conspiracy charge, which a lot of folks were looking to see if there was.
That was a harder charge to prove.
The felony charges, the max sentence is 4 years, but this is a first-time offender. It's a nonviolent crime. It's a Class C felony. Every legal expert I've talked to has said most likely a fine and probation if he's even convicted.
I'll tell you why you're wrong as this legal expert. That is wrong. And I will
He's
tell
not
you,
going to jail over
I will
this.
tell you
He's not going to jail
I
over
will tell
this.
you why you're wrong. Prosecutors are not only in the business of prosecuting crimes, we're in the business of sending out a message.
All right, joining us now, the author of the best-selling brand new book. It's called Get Trump, Amazon.com, Hannity.com, bookstores everywhere, Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz. Professor, by the way, and you know what it's like to be ostracized because of your political beliefs, because you went to, I think, Martha's Vineyard year after year after year, and you were well-liked, and you had, you know, intellectual discussions with people of all different political persuasions, and you're now persona non grata. That's true, right?
Well, I couldn't walk around in New York City with a T-shirt saying, I like Alan Dershowitz. You cannot buy my book today in Shakespeare and Company, a local bookstore. You can get it on Amazon.com, but you can't get it in local bookstores. There is no chance that Donald Trump can get an acquittal in the city of New York by 12 jurors who voted for Bragg when he said he was going to campaign on the issue of getting Trump.
Right,
There's just no way. It would
Professor, slow down a second. You're saying, and I believe, by the way, you're right. I do not believe that Donald Trump can get a fair trial in New York City. I think they need a change of venue, but I think the likelihood of that is very low. But you're basically saying you think he will be found guilty in spite of these, I mean, what is a non-charge? They didn't even state what the crime is?
It reminds me of when I was a civil rights person in the South. If you spit on the sidewalk, or even if you didn't spit on the sidewalk, if the sheriff said you spit on the sidewalk and charged you with it, there was no chance you could get acquitted by an all-white Jim Crow jury. Everybody knew that. You were innocent, but you were going to be convicted. I don't want to make comparisons between Jim Crow and New York City, but in New York City, you cannot get 12 jurors who are prepared to have an objective view and want to walk around town and have people say, that's the juror who freed Donald Trump and allowed him to be president. And the same thing is true with the judge. Any decent judge would change the venue immediately, but this judge won't do that. Any decent judge would throw the case out on statute of limitations. This judge won't do it. He doesn't want to ruin his career. He doesn't want to have the reputation of being the judge who freed Donald Trump. Remember, judges in New York are elected. There is no way he can get a fair trial. I don't care if Jesus, Mohammed, Abraham Lincoln, and George Washington and Thurgood Marshall defended Donald Trump in New York. He would not win that case. Hung jury, possibly. Acquittal, never.
By the way, the book, I read it, by the way, in one sitting. I couldn't put it down. Get Trump, and it goes through a lot of the charges. Here is what I believe is happening here. That the left in this country so hates this one man, and really, they also hate the people that support him. But they hate this one man that represents the people that support him so much that I believe they are preparing what I would call a legal tsunami. Because you got the Bragg case, then you got a 27-year-old civil case about an alleged sexual assault in a dressing room at a big department store where other people were. The person making the charge doesn't remember the year. It could be this year, it could be that year, not sure. Then you go into Fulton County, Georgia, not exactly conservative, Republican-friendly territory. I believe they'll try to indict him there. I believe then I have no idea what the special counsel will find. But I would not be at all surprised if you see a series of indictments and arraignments like we saw yesterday, and thus tie him up in legal knots so that he really can't run a normal presidential campaign. Am I wrong?
Well,
go ahead.
I think they'll try to do that, but I don't think he's going to give in to that. He wrote me a tweet today, a text today, telling me that he's going to win this thing. In my book,
But
get
it's not.
Trump.
But it's not
I go
this
through
thing.
every single.
It's multiple things, Professor.
No. I go through every one of the charges, and I prove there's nothing at all to the Fulton County case. You can't get somebody for saying find votes. Those are votes that haven't been counted. There's no chance in D.C. because what he said was protest patriotically and peacefully. And also, those are federal courts. And the federal judges are more likely to be able to rule in his favor because they have lifetime appointments. Yeah. We're talking about New York, a state court judge. I don't think a state court judge today has the courage. I don't think state court jurors have the courage.
But
that's why.
But if you're dealing with 4 serious, significant legal issues in the venue of New York City, Fulton County, Georgia, Washington, D.C., I can't think of a worse environment for a conservative.
No, I think that's absolutely right. And there's no doubt that the get Trump mentality spreads beyond New York City. But he will campaign on the issue of having been treated unfairly, and it may pick up his poll numbers. Look, nobody should think about that. No prosecutor, no judge should think about the political implications. You have to think about, are there crimes? There are no crimes here. The only possibility is Florida, and there they won't prosecute because they can't prosecute Biden and Pence, so they're not going to go after him. So he's going to win all 4 cases, but it will tie him up.
Mark my words. All right, by the way, the book is called Get Trump. I guess you can't get it in bookstores. Amazon.com. We'll throw it up on Hannity.com. You'll be on my radio show tomorrow. Professor, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it.